Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this August 8th regularly scheduled commission meeting. Forgive us, we just finished up a separate meeting. I know some of you were outside. We apologize for that. We're going to go ahead and start with an approval of the agenda without changes or additions. I have a motion from Commissioner Coleman, a second from Commissioner Clark. Noticing the absence of Commissioner Mazon, he will be here shortly. He's just running a few minutes behind. Do I have a motion to, do I have any commission comments on the motion on the floor? There we go, back on track. Public comments on the motion on the floor to approve the agenda as it was published. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passed unanimously. And I don't have a note for who's giving the invocation here tonight. Miss Ada, do we know? Is there a pastor in the house who came here tonight specifically to give the invocation? And there's Commissioner Mazon coming in. Would anybody like to give the invocation? And I'm going to ask Deacon Martin from DCC if he would step down to the and give tonight's invocation. If you would please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
He jests because he knows I'm not a deacon, but okay. Yes, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for having us here. May you please order our steps as we walk through tonight's agenda. May we ask your favor over those that are healing and sick within our community, particularly of mention is our own city manager. Please watch over him as he begins his healing process. We ask for your favor and watch over us. May you be spoken through our word and through our deeds. And we hope and pray this in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Martin may not be a deacon, but he's a really good back-to-school prayer MC. I got nothing but rave reviews, and I appreciate him standing in for me as I was a little under it yesterday. All right, that takes us to our first presentation. I think we're here for tonight to honor our Senior Lieutenant Kevin Farr for getting the Valor Award. And Chief, you want to come down, give us a little introduction here?
Mayor, Commission. 97.3 The Sky on an annual basis loves to give out Valor Awards and recognize our first responders out there for their hard work and dedication to their jobs. And this year, Senior Lieutenant Kevin Farr was nominated for that role and was given that. So I would like to invite Greg Cassidy from The Sky to come up and read the presentation and give it to Lieutenant Farr. Okay? All right.
Come on down. Come on, Cassidy. I'm so nervous in front of people. Well, as I mentioned, this is an annual event that we do, and you know, all of us at The Sky are proud to support all of our first responders, and obviously this is an opportunity, since we missed this the other night, to do so. Basically, we're saluting Lieutenant Kevin Farr. It was last month. There was a serious motor vehicle accident, and a patient had to be taken out of a vehicle. The first responders included Alachua County Sheriff Sergeant John Nobles, who actually recognized the patient as the wife of another deputy. Nobles wrote a letter of commendation for the efforts of firefighters and paramedics from Newberry Fire and Alachua County Fire and Rescue. And it was Lieutenant Farr who was the leader of the team, removing the patient, giving them needed care, and then transporting to UF Health Chance Hospital. Took crews actually less than 5 minutes to get the person out, but she was able to be treated by the hospital trauma staff in less than 19 minutes after being removed from what would be described as a fiery crash. And of course, obviously, that made a big difference in the rate of survival. And so an update on that: the woman has undergone multiple surgeries, has had a long road of recovery ahead, but would not have been possible without the teamwork and training and the communication and the skills and the professionalism, obviously, demonstrated by the fire rescue team. So on behalf of the Newberry Fire Department, 97.3 The Sky, we want to salute Lieutenant Kevin Farr as a Valor honoree. Very good. Thank you very much.
Do I have a second?
You have to say a few words.
to say
You-
something.
Yeah, you can't get
I
away
actually
from it.
did prepare to say a few words. First, I'd like to commend the Sky for honoring the local first responders in our community. I had the chance to go down a previous one, and they put on an excellent event for the first responders that received the award, and they do an awesome job of that. I've thought about this call and this award quite a bit over the last few weeks. The overwhelming thought that I had is it's easy for me to act upon decisions that I make. It's easy for me to accept the consequences of the decisions that I make. And the 5 other guys that got off the truck that night or that day with me, they don't get the same benefit. If something goes wrong, they suffer from the consequences that someone else made for them. On this day, this young mother of two's car careened out of control, and her driver's door slammed into a concrete pole, severing it off at the ground. The power wires that it once held up were now dangling in the trees above this young lady's car. Lieutenant Beasley, without hesitation, got in the car with her and recognized that she needed immediate help, that we could not provide for her on scene. I made the decision to allow the other men that were working with us that day to be in harm's way to possibly save this young woman's life. Her life that day took a dramatic turn. None of these men hesitated. Every one of them filled the gap and assisted in getting the woman out of the car into a facility that could treat her many life-threatening issues. For that, I would like to recognize everyone that was on shift with me that day in supporting the decision that I made. Alachua County Lieutenant John Beasley. Driver Mike Malsum's not here. Firefighter A.J. Kaysen. Firefighter Sam Lasak, he's not here either. And Alachua County Firefighter Paramedic David Voigt. I am honored that you guys allow me to work for you each and every day. And you as the city should be honored to have them in your community. He's already given the report on the young lady's condition, and it's an honor to hear that she's alive, she's in recovery, and she's in rehab. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cassidy, do you think, since Lieutenant Farr was so generous in sharing his praise, do you think we could get all the firefighters with him and the Valor Award and you down here for one more picture? Come on down, fellas. We want to remember everybody that was involved in that night. While they're making their way, I want to add my thanks to the Sky for hosting the Valor Awards. It's a wonderful thing you guys do. Wonderful. Thank you to everybody. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your commission likes to hear from you early in the night and often, so they set aside public announcements. Now, these are the 2-minute, non-controversial. If you got a missing dog, you want to tell us about a garage sale, something like that, you can line up and talk to the commission about that. I do understand that we may have some people here who would like to talk to the commission about something that's a little bit more controversial. We set aside 5-minute periods of time at the end of the meeting to speak to the commission on more controversial items. I do want to make a note, though, that if you're here to discuss a personnel labor relations issue, make sure I get that right, a labor relations issue, that employee is in the middle of an appeal, and that employee is due to have his due process. And I've been advised by legal that it would be inappropriate in a public forum for us to discuss that while that appeal process is undergoing. So if you want to make general comments, that's fine. But if you want to speak to anything specific, right, now is not the right time and now is not the right forum in which to do that. Okay, so I want to be upfront about that now so that if that's what you wanted to say, you had the opportunity. You don't have to sit here all night waiting for that just to hear me say it then. Okay, I'll remind everybody the parameters, but for legal reasons, because the appeal process is in the middle, right, we will not be entertaining conversations in a public forum about that process. Okay, so if anybody needs to to make an exit now, we'll understand that. If you want to come up and queue up for those lost dog garage sale announcements, now is a great time as well. Any updates on my time? No, just giving you a little prod there. I know we're gearing back up for school.
Okay, thank you. To Mayor Marlowe and the commissioners and the city of Newberry, thank you for this opportunity. I wasn't ready to speak tonight. However, thank you. Yes, we are gearing up to start my time, and it's going to be 2 weeks after the first day of school. We will have a meet and greet for the parents, an open house for them, so they can see what's going on and everything. And I don't have my notes with me. Our contributions that were raised, we're going to use those for field trips and everything. We have field trips and speakers already aligned to come in. We've been updated that more new computers are coming in, so that is going to be good. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head. And again, thank you all.
Well, you did a great job on the fly.
Oh.
We appreciate it.
right,
Thanks for
thank
that
you.
work. Any other public announcements? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as was published. Motion from Commissioner Martin, second from Commissioner Coleman. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to our first public hearing and ordinances, which is a quasi-judicial meeting. This is about Country Way South Phase 1 final plat approval. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're entering a quasi-judicial procedure. This means the commission will stop being a legislative body and will become a quasi-judicial board, which means that we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule we must follow concerns testimony. The substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. The standard states the following, quote, all public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts, and closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record. Now I'm going to ask the city attorney to read into the record the resolution by title only. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 2022-48, SD 22-06, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving with appropriate conditions and safeguards the final plat for Countryway South Phase 1 as authorized under Section 5.18 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations in a planned development PD zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass resolution number 2022-48 upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
At this point, I'm going to ask the clerk if she will swear in the applicant, staff, and any participant requesting to speak. We can do that collectively. So if you're here to speak to Resolution 2022, item 4 on tonight's agenda, if you would please stand and the clerk will swear you in. If you think you even might speak, go ahead and get sworn in now. All right, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Please state your name for the record.
Brian Thomas.
Do you hereby swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You have any duties with it?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications and whether any member has physically inspected the property. Commissioner Mazon?
None.
Commissioner Martin?
No.
Commissioner Farnsworth? Commissioner Clark? Commissioner Coleman?
None.
I'm a non-voting mayor, but I have not as well. Now I'm going to explain the order of presentations that we will follow for the quasi-judicial item before us tonight. First, we're going to hear from the staff with the overview. Then the applicant gets the opportunity to make a presentation with no time limit. Then we'll hear the staff report and recommendation, also with no time limit. I have not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. That's going to move us to public comment. Anybody here from the public wishing to speak to this agenda, I don't have 3 minutes to do so. The applicant can then cross-examine, staff can cross-examine. Members of the decision-making body through the chair can ask questions of the staff or the applicant or any of the participants, and then we'll hear final arguments. After that, the city attorney will advise the decision-making body as applicable law and the factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the application. Then we'll deliberate, and after deliberations, motion will be taken to approve with conditions, continue or deny the application. This is the only quasi-judicial we have tonight, but we'll follow that presentation order. And go ahead, Brian, give us the overview.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it's okay with the commission, I'll go ahead and give the whole presentation, which is brief. The applicant spoke with him earlier today. He's not able to make it this evening. So This is Resolution 2022-48, SD 22-6. It is a request for final plat approval in Countryway South Phase 1. The original Countryway South PRD was approved by the commission in October of 2009. Its development agreement was amended in 2020, extending the agreement until 2030. The commission approved the construction plans for Countryway Phase 1 back in July of 2021. They've been working on the construction of that infrastructure ever since. Countryway South is a low-density residential neighborhood, 4 units per acre or less. The plans that they've actually developed for the master plan show 77 total lots. Potentially, they could have gone as high as 94, but they limited it to 77. This phase represents 41 lots in the first phase on about 13 acres. It's detached single-family homes only, and the actual gross density is actually 3.3 units per acre. And it'll be served by Newberry Central Water and Wastewater Services. And the plat was reviewed by EDA Consultants for us. The location, as you can see, it's basically parallel with State Road 45, south of the original Countryway neighborhood. The north side of the property is Phase 1. This just gives you the look of the actual plat as presented. Staff finds the proposed surety agreement provided to be was approved by the city attorney and is consistent with the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan land use regulations. The only condition would be the applicant provide a fully executed 1-year maintenance surety device prior to acceptance by the city. The only thing that's holding that up is they've got one more infrastructure item that has to arrive. Like everything else, there's back orders going on because of the way the supply chain's working right now. And so once they get those installed, then they'll provide a surety agreement for maintenance for the 1-year maintenance period. Recommended action would be to approve Resolution 2022-48, approving the final plat for Countryway South Phase 1.
With that condition that was on the previous slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, and you said the applicant is not here?
Correct.
All right, that will take us to public comment. Any members of the public here to speak to this agenda item? You have 3 minutes to do so. Seeing none, that will take us to member decision-making body. You got questions? Commissioner Clark?
Brian, this particular plat, do we have a HOA on this one?
Mr. Chair, there will be, or Mr. Mayor, rather, there will be an HOA for this neighborhood, this portion of the neighborhood.
Okay, other questions? Okay, Mr. Attorney, would you advise the decision-making body's applicable law and factual findings must be met?
It is substantial and competent evidence.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Continue.
Move to approve resolution 2022-48.
With the conditions that were on the approved previous slide.
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Coleman. Second from Commissioner Martin. Any comments or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will take us to item 5, which I believe Dallas is going to present this. While he's making his way down, Mr. Attorney, would you please read Resolution 2022-49 into the record?
Yes, sir. This is Resolution 2022-49, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, authorizing the chief elected official to approve the proposed FFY 2021-2022 application to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for a community development block grant and to adopt the city's comprehensive plan as its community development plan, provide an effective date and for other purposes. Appropriate motion is pass Resolution 2022-49 upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We are out of quasi-judicial, correct. Yep. All right, Dallas, take it away.
Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, good evening. I am pitch hitting this tonight. I didn't know I was presenting this until about 30 minutes ago, so forgive me. This may also be deja vu for the commission because you have already approved this item. This is related to the CDBG block grant application. We did submit the grant application. However, when we submitted it, We realized that there was an issue with the advertising, and we advertised the hearing 4 days in advance instead of 5 days in advance. So we are reholding this public hearing to get comments on the CDBG grant application. So we're curing that issue. The purpose of this hearing is to receive comments on our application. We will take public comment on the application and incorporate those comments in the application that we've already submitted. There is a period after this submittal that the agency can review. When the agency provides a list of outstanding documentation needed, we will coordinate to make any revisions or clarifications. As I mentioned, we've already submitted the application. However, they're requesting that we cure our advertising period. The purpose of this grant is to mill as needed and repave approximately 2,300 linear feet of existing city streets on the north side of town. The project will include any necessary risers for manholes and will provide for replaced driveway aprons and curb and drainage as necessary. In addition, we're proposing an estimated 2,000 linear feet of new sidewalks adjacent to the streets proposed on the north side of town. There are no local funds anticipated as matching for the grant, and income levels for the project have been established using the household income survey as determined by DEO. The appropriate motion for the city.
If Dallas can't figure out how to work it, then it's all lost.
I've absolved myself of all responsibility for that system in the back.
He's getting back to the beginning, but.
All right. So now the
But we
appropriate.
have seen this presentation already, so he may be going through it a little bit faster than normal.
Yeah, this would be the third
This
time
is
the
the third
commission
time.
has. So now would be the appropriate time to ask for public comment on our CDBG category selection, which I'll remind the commission is for the CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Grant.
And for any new public is here who didn't get the benefit of seeing it twice, a community block development grant is a state-funded grant that the states put this money in, and then municipalities and counties get to go after it. There's 3 different categories. We're going after a neighborhood redevelopment, revitalization. My eyesight is going, and that font's even smaller. But we're going to try to pave some roads that fit with this. So commission has identified the roads that we want to go after that would fit the parameters of the grant. We have had very good success. I think we've gotten every CDBG grant that we have applied for. We have a really good consultant and a really good staff that make sure when we apply, we fit. So that's what we're voting on. So if anyone wants to make a comment on that, it's very narrow parameters upon where the grant could be applied for, but this will give us $750,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, to get some of our unpaved roads in urban Newberry paved. So we're very excited. Come on down, ma'am, and you can ask any questions. Oh, you don't want to come down? You're fine. Come on. You made the trip. Come on, and you can't lobby for your road unless it's a
Okay.
downtown Newberry road.
Oh, I can't talk about my road? Will these roads be paved with asphalt?
That's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and ask Assistant City Manager Jamie to answer that.
Yes, ma'am, they would be paved with asphalt.
Would you like yours
Because-
with gold?
Well, I would love that because
Okay.
I had a water leak and a sinkhole in front of my house in Country Way. It went down 10 feet, and that was a couple months ago, and the guys came in the middle of the night. They were great. They filled it all in with dirt and rock. And when my neighbors and I have been calling to see when they were gonna put asphalt over it, because the gravel's all starting to come up, they said they can't get hold of asphalt. And I even talked to building and zoning, and they said, we don't have any small businesses that do asphalt. So there it sits, and the
All the
gravel's
asphalt
coming up.
comes from China. And it's all
We
locked
can,
up.
well, how are they gonna pave their roads with asphalt?
That's a good question. Jamie?
I can speak to that. We actually have a contractor supposed to pave the section adjacent to her property and one further on in Country Way. We've had that PO in place for at least a month. He's trying to procure asphalt. It's not that asphalt isn't available, but the road paving contractors right now are basically using it for the larger jobs. It's hard to get small batches to do hot patch work like
Yeah,
that.
because it's starting to come up, you know, where they put all those rock and stuff in there.
Well, we will have crews evaluated tomorrow, and if we need to recompact the rock, we will do so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions about, since we re-advertised, you got to come down here, sir, and we're talking about Community Block Development Grant, which is gonna fund some road pavement on the north side of town here.
My only question is, since
Give
we
us your
got
name, please, for
Chuck
the-
Futch,
All right.
since we get all these grants eventually, and city staff are so efficient and good at it, why would it take 3 tries and have to keep doing it over and over again if they're so good at what they're doing? It's my
No.
question.
No, we get them whenever we go. You have to do it twice. We messed up on an advertisement
Well,
this
how would they
time.
not know that already is my question.
Generally,
You would think
sir,
they would after they've done a bunch of them already. I mean, if you're good at your job, you get good at your job.
generally, sir, what happens is there was a holiday or something in there that somebody missed, and that didn't get to count, and so you have to go do another one. But we take your point, and we appreciate
All right.
your comment. Thank you, sir. Any other comments about north side of town? Okay, hearing none. Dallas, does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, the appropriate motion is on the screen for the commission.
All right, we'll be on.
The
is it
neighborhood
down at the bottom?
revitalization. There's 2 motions. The first motion is to proceed with the CDBG grant for neighborhood revitalization. The second motion is to allow city staff to apply for a CDBG ED grant, should one become available, for economic development if a business entity qualifies within the city.
And we said last time that we couldn't combine those 2 motions. We have to take them
They
separately.
need to be separate motions.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So do I hear a motion for the first? It's at the top. I have the first motion from Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Maison. Comments or questions from the dais on the first motion?
To be clear, the motion that Commissioner Martin is making is a motion to proceed with the FFY 2021-2022 Florida Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, in the following categories described above. Pick one category, neighborhood revitalization category grant, right?
He'll give you a run for your money, man.
I know. Well, we have people
I
that really
I
want to
aspire
make
to be mayor
stickers, so we
one
want to
day.
make sure that we get this right. Okay, that was your motion, Commissioner Martin. That was your second, Commissioner Maison. Comments or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, do I have a motion for the second? And you want to go ahead and read, because my eyesight cannot get that font, so. I'm
Motion
gonna
to
count on
proceed
your-
with an FFY 2021-2022 Florida Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, in the Economic Development ED category as described above, should a business entity or qualifying participating party present itself as a partner with the city.
So moved as written.
I got a motion from Commissioner Coleman and a second from Commissioner Clark. Any comments or questions on the motion from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. There we go. Cured and rectified. That takes us to item 6, City Hall Detailed Design Contract. Mr. Parker, I believe this is you. Come on down, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I am here to talk about the detailed design for City Hall. Recommended action is to authorize the Assistant City Manager to execute a contract on the detailed design for City Hall and the campus, and to authorize the Assistant City Manager to execute change orders up to 10% the dollar value of the contract. As a reminder of how we got here, February 2020, we discussed housing for all of our employees and consolidating Little Red Schoolhouse, City Hall Annex, Utility Administration on one campus. City Commission authorized staff to move forward with the prelim design. February 2021, we met again. We contracted with Monarch, and they presented preliminary designs to you all. We got the gist of what you were saying. We came back April 2022 with the conceptual design. If you remember, we talked about a lot of the details for the campus in that conversation, as well as the building itself. After that meeting, City Commission authorized staff to move forward with the detailed design phase. The contract, CHW will subcontract with Monarch Architects, that is Barnett Chenault, to provide the architecture, mechanical engineering, plumbing, and the structural design. CHW provide master planning, civil design, landscape architecture, site lighting, and site permitting. The contract, well, let me get funding source. You'll see the contract amount, and we have identified it in fiscal year 2023 budget. The contract is going to have a not to exceed number on there that you see up there, and also some off ramps. So as we are going through the process, we're going to do it on a task order. So You know, if we have A through F, if we get through A, B, C, and we decide that commission wants to go a different direction, we have some off-ramps there. That's all I got.
Does anybody have any questions for Travis? Remember, this is like step 3 in a 20-step process. You guys have been very clear about having those off-ramps and prioritizing the infrastructure items around town, the streets, the roads, those kinds of things first. But we have to get to a certain point to know what it's going to look like, what the numbers are going to be, what do we got to bite off, and those kinds of things. So that's kind of where we're at in this process is, you know, moving forward to finalize what those numbers will be, get a little bit clearer on design, those kinds of things.
Mr. Mayor, I assume I'll be back up in front of you all before that process is completed.
I would guarantee it. Commissioner Clark.
So, I know there was an approval for a couple $100,000 on the last approval that we went through on this thing. Was when we seen the design concept that we disapproved. We wanted to see the feedback.
We haven't developed that feedback yet.
So-
As far as conceptual, the last time we came forward, we presented the last design that we had come up with. We do have the feedback, obviously, when we start the detailed design. That feedback will go in there.
This contract now does what for us above and beyond the 200,000 or the 400 we already spent?
So this contract actually takes us from conceptual, here's what we expect the facility to look like and/or the campus, to actual detailed design drawings that we can put out to bid. This covers the things such as stormwater, infrastructure, the actual architecture itself, mechanical engineering, plumbing. So this will be a set of drawings that can go out to bid.
Mr.
Dallas,
Mayor,
can
to
you remind us
clarify,
the history of that.
at the last meeting where we discussed this, the commission authorized us to move to the next step. This is that same step. Last time it was, we didn't have a contract to present to you. This is the contract that you approved us to go out and get at the last meeting. This is not an additional set of money above and beyond what you approved last time. This is just the actual contract to spend that same set of money. You told us to go get a contract. This is us bringing you the contract back.
Okay, so we were though at 200,000, correct?
It was 200,000 in the current fiscal year with the remaining
And
in
now
next
we're at
fiscal year.
400,000, so it jumped 264,000 or no?
No,
It
sir,
was-
mister. No, sir. It was,
You're paying half of it from last year's budget. You got
That's
to pay
what the
the
200 was.
Correct.
it's in the current year, and then we have next year's money as well. Yes, sir.
And we're budget fiscally good to go with this in our budget,
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
even with lowering the taxes?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Pretty good.
Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Do I hear a motion then? Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Martin for both of those bullet points, which is authorize the Assistant City Manager to execute contract for detailed design for City Hall and City Hall campus. Authorize the Assistant City Manager to execute change orders up to 10% of the dollar value of the contract. Just want to establish it's still faster. Okay? I've got that motion from Commissioner Martin, right? Did I have a second from Commissioner Mazon? Okay. Public comment, or Di's comment on the motion on the floor? Public comment on the motion on the floor. Come on down, sir.
I probably didn't understand it right, but y'all talking about authorizing.
Wait till you get to the microphone, sir. We got people watching on YouTube. We want to
Well, I
hear.
don't care about them. I'm talking to y'all.
We do for the record,
I mean,
though. We do
y'all
for the
are
record. So we
final-
got to think about the whole
y'all
town,
were
not just your
final say-so.
preferences. Right.
Am I understanding right that you spent $200,000 to get to this step? You're gonna spend an additional $200-something thousand to get a picture of a drawing
No.
for what's going on?
You didn't
Well, that's what
understand
it
that.
sounded like.
Right. No. I think
I
what he
was
said.
thinking that's a damn expensive picture if it costs nearly $500,000.
And I'll
to get
ask
somebody
Travis to
draw a
repeat what he
picture.
said before, but this is gonna. You want to come back and repeat everything we're gonna get in this contract, or Jamie? Did
Oh,
you
I
want?
don't need all the details.
Okay.
I look at the money.
I just want to
I
make
look at
sure
the dollar
we're
amount.
communicating. You seem
know,
like you really want to make sure we're communicating on every word.
math.
So I
math.
want to make sure we're
It's
doing it.
simple, basic math. I learned Newberry math. I went to school here. I've been here my whole damn life. And Newberry math always works.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I
I'm
just wanted
glad
to
we
make
answered
sure
the
we
question.
wasn't. Money is, they spending $400,000 to get blueprints drawn?
Fort Travis is a little more involved than that.
Okay, but maybe it is, but these architects will draw blueprints for anything you want to build for way less than that money. And we all pay taxes, you know. It don't get any cheaper to live here. It's getting more and more expensive. And y'all got money rolling in from all this development's coming in. The tax base is growing. Where's the block grant for Southwest 15th Avenue out there where I live? If any of y'all ever drove down Southwest 15th Avenue, it's coming apart at the seams. And it wasn't a good deal when it was put there 16, 17 years ago.
We are. He's got 19 seconds left, so. All right. Any other comments on the motion on the floor?
I got a question. That's all. We're closing down the Little Red School. Oh, my name's Paul Kevin Coleman from Newberry. All right. If y'all don't know me, you know something. Our Little Red School mentioned that's all going to get shut down and closed away. What are we going to do with that?
And JB, you want to take this? Part of that is coming over, and part of it's going to stay there because we got the museum there. So we want to have staff to make sure it's open. But
Planning and zoning and the building department, Mr. Mayor, would be incorporated as part of the city hall process with finance.
there you go.
So there was other things mentioned that we're going to be consolidated.
We're trying to get, what we've heard from residents is they're tired of getting sent to Little Red Schoolhouse, and then they got to come here, and then they got, so we're trying to get everybody.
Life's tough. Life's
I know
tough.
it.
Let's spend some
We're
more
trying to
money
get
now.
everybody right here on campus, so on one spot.
Yeah. So everybody be right here in this little block.
Everybody will be right here on, you can walk from one office to the other office and get everything you need.
That'll be nice, won't it?
Yeah.
Won't have to walk. And we're gonna spend how much money to do all this?
And I want to reiterate, because I did say it, I think pretty clearly, that this priority is going to come after we do streets, roads. So we are projecting into the future because we like to think what our needs going to be down the line, but it's going to come after we do our
So it's gonna
our
be like
infrastructure.
second or third in the
Right
process?
now, we got it at we've got the connection road on Seaboard Drive. We've got the connection on 15th, the project I know is near and dear to your heart. And then this project will come after that, along on the way, paving roads on the north side of town, running water and sewer out on 26. It's been a little busy in town.
Split pairs.
You know, we're doing we're doing a couple projects here and there.
Split pairs.
I mean,
Yeah.
that 15th Avenue project's been years. I mean,
The one connecting on 15 to 337.
yeah.
Well, it's only been on my radar for a couple years, and it's moving like that now.
It is?
I would say so.
We have the water line design complete. We have FDP permits, Mr. Mayor, FDOT permits, Mr. Mayor, county permits. We also have the 15th Avenue's actual roadway design is at 60% complete. As soon as the roadway design is at 90, we will let the whole project.
If this microphone was portable, I'd drop it.
So, it's gonna be a road like the street half's not that 15th Avenue going
You
east.
talking about the chip seal part?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. County did that. We don't do that kind of work.
When we getting rid of the county? You know, our own streets.
You got to talk to somebody down there.
Yeah. All right, well, that's just what I wanted to find out about.
Thank you, sir.
Be here tonight.
We appreciate it. Other public comments? Hearing none. Back to the motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to comments. Either Assistant City Manager?
One comment, Mr. Mayor. Approximately 2 years ago, as part of the budgetary process, you declared a digger derrick in our electric department as surplus. The city of Wauchula has contacted us, and they are in desperate need of one. And they have offered $45,000 for the purchase of that truck. And due to it being declared surplus and part of the city's purchasing policies allow for us to make a trade of equipment like that to another governmental entity, we just want to let the commission know that we're moving forward with that process.
So we're going to be able to get Lime Rock out onto our rural roads at a more flexible rate now, because it won't be completely up to other folks.
No, Mr. Mayor, this is a digger derrick truck from the
Yeah, I
electric
heard that
department
wrong.
for setting poles.
I was thinking the dump truck.
Digger
All right.
truck.
Dig or dump, man.
Pole.
Yeah, that's good too. That's good too. I just want to get that lime rock out there. All right,
better have a
thank
new
you.
truck.
Any other comments?
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Mr. Attorney? Madam Clerk?
Yes, early voting for the 2022 primary election starts August the 13th through August the 20th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And please note that precinct 4 has been moved out to the Alachua County Agricultural and Equestrian Center.
Isn't all the early voting happening in the one spot, or do we have two
There are
locations?
five- There are
But
7.
in our area, it's all happening
Right.
at the Ag Center. Okay. Great opportunity to go visit the Ag Center. It's beautiful out there. They've done a great job. Thank you for that comment, Madam Clerk. Let's mix it up. Start down here. Commissioner Maison, you got a comment? Got to mix every once in a while. Got to mix it up.
All right, yes, of course. So, MLK is hosting, just for you old guys, listen. So MLK is hosting arts and craft for seniors, like yourself, starting Tuesday at 4 p.m., starting on July 7th. Did you guys get that? Write this down, y'all should be. July 7th. July 7th.
Of next year?
That's this year.
July 7th?
July, August. No.
September, October.
August.
It's already gone, already passed.
Did we miss it?
No. Travis. Is this July 7th? Am I getting wrong information?
July 7th, that's a long time ago.
It
When-
started.
When,
Yeah,
It began.
It's already, it's been ongoing.
But it's
So it's
every,
gone.
No,
every
no, it's not
it's
gone.
every Tuesday.
Still go.
Okay.
Every Tuesday. Every Tuesday or the first Tuesday of every month?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday
Started.
at 4 o'clock.
Every Tuesday at 4. Senior Citizens Arts and Crafts.
Is it drawing with Brian or anything
I
like
have to
that, or is it just
apologize. I
drawing?
threw him off. I put him first. That messed up his game.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
No joke today?
absolutely.
He
Yes,
is
I
the
do.
joke.
How does an ocean says hi? It waves. I got one more. That was pretty good, Monty. That was pretty good. That was weak. Okay, let me dig in my pocket. Why did the teddy bear say no to dessert? It was stuffed. I killed myself.
Thank you, Commissioner Maison. Commissioner Martin. Commissioner Farnsworth. Commissioner Clark.
God bless America.
Commissioner Coleman.
My only thing is school's starting this week, and everybody just needs to be careful and get up earlier than usual, fight the traffic in Gainesville. Just be careful with all the childrens.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Commissioner Coleman. I was going to make the same comments. School starts on Wednesday, which is kind of odd. We're starting right in the middle of the week. I would agree with Commissioner Coleman. Everybody just plan on an extra 10 or 15 minutes the first week or so. I don't know what happens between the beginning of the school year and the end of school year, but at the beginning of the school year, I got to wait 30 minutes to drop my kid off. By the end of the school year, it's just me. So I don't know what happened to everybody in between, but that's how it always goes. So in this first week, when the buses are running and that stop sign comes out, that's not a suggestion. So we need you to stop. There are kids getting off and on there, so please be safe. And kids are kids, so if kids are crossing where they're not supposed to cross or something like that, maybe give them some constructive feedback, but rolling down the window and cursing at them doesn't really help out a whole lot. If you know their mama, that's always a good call. But kids are kids, and we were all there, and we did the same thing too. There was just less people here when we did it. I also want to thank Commissioner Martin for stepping in for me yesterday as emceeing the back to school prayer event. And I want to thank the Newberry Ministerial Association. I think one of the things that sets Newberry apart is that our churches, everybody has a church and you go to church, right? And you feel very committed to your church, but our pastors come together and they work together to host community events. And I don't know anywhere else around that has a community that does that. And so I want to thank all of the churches that participated in bringing that on, and thank all the administrations in Newberry. We still live in a city that supports us getting together and do those kinds of things. And everybody that came out and prayed over all three schools, they need it. So I appreciate it, and seemed like I had something else, but I think that's it. We'll go to citizen comment. I'll just reiterate, if you're here tonight to talk to a specific labor relations issue, we are in the middle of an appeals process, and every employee is entitled to his or her due process. So we have been instructed not to have that in an open public forum, right? After the appeal is done, if you want to come back and make a comment, we would welcome those comments then. But while that process is going on, now is not the appropriate moment to do that. Are there anybody here who'd like to make a comment within those parameters? Come on down, sir.
Good evening. My name is Buford Rowland. I've been a Newberry resident most of my life, with the exception of the time I served in the United States Marine Corps. I'd like to start off by thanking the commissioners and the mayor for allowing me to speak tonight and returning multiple phone calls that I've had over the past couple of weeks. I truly appreciate the job and the patience that you have. I understand that most of the time people come to you with criticism and negativity, and I've seen some of it tonight. But tonight I come to you with real life. One of the first things we learn as kids is if you're in trouble, call 911. When you call 911, a real person responds to that scene. A person with hobbies, a person with passions, and a person with families. These people are first responders. What do we owe our first responders as a community? I want you to imagine for a moment that you're standing in front of a house engulfed in flames with your loved ones inside. What price would you pay a first responder to do their job, to save your loved ones? Really think about it. What would you pay? What price can you put on saving your family? I've tried to come up with an answer, but there is no price, no amount of money, no amount of effort that I wouldn't give for that person to do their job in that moment. Let's think about another scenario. Imagine that you have been called to respond to an accident and you arrive on the scene. You notice the car upside down in the ditch is the same color as your spouse's or your teenage daughter or your son. First responders see events like this day in and day out, and no matter how much they try to separate home and work, their minds put their spouse or their child in that car. Can you imagine how rough a toll that plays on their minds? I can't. I couldn't do what they do. I'd give anything to support them so that they can continue doing their job. Thanks again for everything you do, commissioners, and for allowing me to speak tonight. I hope that you take every opportunity presented to you to support our first responders. Most of us do not see or face life and death situations on the regular. We need to protect and support the people who do at all opportunities. No price is too high. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate those sentiments, and I believe we echo. Other public comment? Come on down, sir.
Y'all got me this evening. I've hacked away.
The Aller Award recipient first. When you give your name, you have to lead into it.
My name's Kevin Farr, Local 3852, Newberry Branch. You're going to have to bear with me. I've hacked 3 pages and then rewrote 2, so stop me if I step out of line, please. Recent events in the city have taken a toll on morale in the fire department. I keep hearing one thing. It's that we are different. We are different in our effects on the city. We cost the city money when we take off or we have a leave of absence. The fire department employees face the worst the city has to offer, so others don't have to. We carry scars for the city with honor, and some for the rest of our lives. These scars are both mental and physical. Watching people die in every manner conceivable will wear down one's soul. Jumping out of bed, rushing into a fire, and doing 8 hours of work in 3 has lasting consequences on the body. Some we will suffer from long after we leave this profession, or it leaves us. Cancers, cardiac issues, respiratory problems, and mental issues will follow us into our glory years. We are different. We leave our house committed to returning, but knowing that it could be our last. Because of these differences, we should be supported in our times of need, not looked upon as an undue burden. I ask you, Commission, and you, citizens, support your fire department. Demand that staff write policies that are protective of your most valuable resource, your employees. Demand that the very department that its sole purpose and existence is in their name, human resources, respond immediately to an employee in crisis, whether that be a personal crisis or a family one. This department should lay out in a face-to-face manner with the employee or family policies and a calendar of dates that will affect them in the days of their recovery. They should remain in constant contact in a supportive manner with the employee or their families. They should be digging for policies and ways to support, not devastate, an already devastated family. One thing about our profession is we see just how fast lives can change. In an instant, the course of our life can take a dramatic turn. A vehicle accident or a medical event will change the life of another employee in this city. I would ask that you and staff put yourself in one of these situations and ask yourself, how would you feel about a policy being leveled against you, given just a few months after a devastating event and you are faced with another one? We can sit behind our desk and get tunnel vision on the numbers and effects on the city, or we can balance both the city consequences as well as the human ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment? Anybody else? Come on down, ma'am.
It's me again, Lisa Darling. I would be remiss if I did not say this, and yes, you caught me off the fly. On July the 28th, Mayor, the concerned citizens and I think City of Newberry, MLK building, and the teachers and principal of Newberry Elementary came out to do backpack giveaways, and it was you know what I'm trying to say. Spectacular
Yes,
event.
I agree.
They provided pizza and water for the students. They had backpacks and everything, and I think I heard in the background of the thing that we have, Miss Gail Watson, she was there. So I would just be remiss if I did not say something about them, and we want to thank the City of Newberry again and Newberry Elementary for their assistance.
We appreciate that. That was great.
Oh, and Greenfield preschool, right? Okay.
They help sponsor? Wonderful. Well,
Okay.
we'll put them in the gratitude list too.
Okay.
So thank you guys for doing
All right.
that. That helps out a lot. Any other public comment? Come on down, ma'am.
Are we allowed to talk about our electric bills?
It's 5 minutes to talk to the commission about anything you want. Okay, if hearing none, we are adjourned.